Oh man, sometimes getting the fingerprints off of these models is the hardest part. Oh, hey, it looks like you're ready to build Metal Time Workshop's The Great Bell. This is a really awesome looking model, especially with that clock and the ability to put an electric light in the middle here to make everything glow. If you're new to 3D metal model building, this is a great model to start with because of all of its rectangular pieces. And if you're a little intimidated, don't worry. We're going to build the entire thing right now with you. So go ahead and sit back, take your model out of the plastic, and let's go back in time to where we're just getting started on this model.
And boom, there we have it. All of our pieces needed to build the Great Bell from Metal Time. Starting off with this big platform here, we're going to be taking these little railings and placing them in their little slots. Now, my personal recommendation is to actually start with these guys here first, then bend our sides down. It's a lot easier to get everything into place. Let's go ahead and start with that. Okay, stand that up as straight as possible. I'm twisting these guys clockwise and counterclockwise. There we go. Looks pretty good. And nice and straight too. Now, not to deform any of the other pieces. Yeah, it likes to turn that little pole there. If that happens, we can always use multiple tools here to help us actually get that all sorted out. I notice here, when I actually twist them this way, they meet. So let's see if we can do that with here instead. So I'll grab it and then twist. And then this one, we grab and we twist. Oh yeah, that looks a lot nicer. I actually like that. So let's try to do that with every one of these. Turn towards the other pole. Yeah, I like that. I like to look at that a lot. Okay, now we can go ahead and start bending down these sides. There we go. And actually, before we get bending the longer pieces here, we actually need to get another tool. Let's take our tweezers here, go right up to the edge, and bend down these long pieces. Okay, actually, we're going to bend these in. Just a little bit more. And now I'm wondering. Yeah, there we go. And now we can go all the way around. Boom. Boom. You get one. You get one. And you get one. And you get one. Yeah, now we're all lined up. And looking pretty snazzy. Okay, first page down. Well, this is where this gets interesting. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this little piece here. This little bit of detail can be tricky to do, but I think we got this. So the first thing we're going to do is use our tweezers, maybe? They seem like they're not long enough. You know, it did come with another tool here that I barely ever use. Let's see if this guy actually is good enough for this. Ooh, he feels like he's going to scratch the metal. Let's not use you right now. Instead, let's use our Bender 1.0 tool. See, I went through other tools that a lot of people have access to first before going to this one because I didn't want to be like, oh, well, use my tool and we can fix it. No, I want to show you guys how to be able to build this at home. And this is the tool that we're going to use here. And it even looks like my tool might not even be able to do everything we need to do at the moment. So let's see. How far can we go in here? Not very far. How far can we go here? Pretty far. Okay, there we go. We found the angle we can use. And now we're going to do this. And bend up. Just like that. Cool. Now I could have bent this in half first, and it would have been a little easier, but you know, I went to college, so watch my powers. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now we're going to close it up. Okay, a little hard to get these guys to secure. Let's see if I can get these guys in first and see if it's easier to do this. And now I can press down. Alright, yeah, that's the way you have to do it. I don't like it, it's a little aggressive, but I like that. That looks pretty good. Okay, now that we got this, we can add some more detail on. Starting with this little guy here. This one has no sides, so unlike we did before, let's start with the middle bend first. There we go. And now we're going to go to the edge, and we're going to bend them like this. Okay. Same thing with the other side. See, again, not using the Bender 1.0 tool, using our tweezers here to show you how to get the job done. I know that most people that are building these models probably have access to these kinds of tweezers. Okay. There we go. I know that's probably a bad assumption, but I know for the most part, people do. Now we might need to open this in order to be able to place this in its place, but we're going to see here. These little flat guys here go in the center. Let's see how we can actually get them into place though. You know what? It actually might be a better idea to bend these in place. Okay, I think that's about as best as I'm going to get it. Now we can do the top piece here. This one is a little bit longer and it has the little spires here on top. I wonder... I think the best thing to do was to kind of give it that 90-degree bend first. And we'll go ahead and start to bend the one side. We'll actually bend one side correctly, and then we can bend the other side to the correct specification when we get there. The only thing about wearing these white gloves, it's nice because they kind of polish the model as you build. However, all the little bits of metal tend to get stuck inside of your gloves, and that's a pain in the butt. So that actually went in pretty well. Now let's see if we can get this side bent just a little bit, and that will start us off. And then we gotta do this a few more times. By the end, we're gonna be pros. go. So now we gotta bend these guys just a little bit more. I'm gonna lay this down flat on my table. And I'm gonna do this. Okay, that's the one side there. And it actually looks really good. Let's see if we can get in there and just kind of do one of those. I grab my tab bending tool for the one down in here. There we go. And that one actually looks really good. So I like that one a lot more. I think I'm gonna try to follow that technique for the other ones, and then we're gonna actually try to line all these up together. I'm gonna see if I can use my longer pliers to help me with that as well, so we get a really nice finish. But let's go ahead and put the other little bits of detail on here, and we'll see how that looks. All right, there we go. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this. I like the top here a lot more than I like the bottom. One thing about how these are bent is if they're not completely equal, they will come out in different shapes. So you can see here that this one and this one are about the same. This one and this one are not. There's a little bit of a longer edge here, and that's because, again, while I bent it along the bending line, you really do have to bend these equally in order to be able to get everything properly square, if you will. Okay, but now that we got this, we can move on to our next step here, which has us forming an interesting piece here. Now we got to fold all of these guys equally up as well, and let's use our pliers for that. Again, the key here is to make sure that you do this exactly the same. You have to grab the pieces at the exact point, otherwise one will be slightly taller than the other and they will not line up properly. That looks pretty good. Let me straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's one side down. Now we got to do the other ones. Looking pretty good though. I think that's pretty good. Now looking at it this way, we do have a little bit of a lean, so we can kind of correct that. That's better. All right, now that we got this piece done and we have these pieces, we got to connect them all together. I think the best thing to do is actually start with these two pieces and then attach it onto the base. So let's go ahead and do this. You want to make sure you're putting it on the top, not the bottom. I imagine that you actually probably couldn't do that. Yeah, the tabs here are different, but still, keep that in mind. Okay,
maybe if I work off corners, this is basically making this all square. So I think the reason why I'm having a bit of a hard time getting everything into place is because it is like kind of forcing it now into square territory. There we go. Oh no, we're popping out over here now. Awesome. Got a little bit of fur in there, but I think we're okay now if I use my little white gloves here to kind of clean that up. But that looks really good. Now, what we need to do is attach this on to our base. And it should only go on one way. Okay. There's those two. Now the bottom, there we go. And these ones, we're gonna just twist. Okay, there we go. Page 3 all complete. Now we get to move on to kind of building the face of our clocks. This should be pretty interesting. I'm actually kind of excited to see how this all goes together. The first thing we're gonna do is grab our little faces, or our little hands here. Not our faces. All right. And now we're gonna take this here, bend it in just like that. And then I'm gonna take the bottom here, do the same thing, grabbing only the tab, and I'm gonna pull it back. Oh, actually, we're gonna go right up to the base here. Yeah, right to there, I think. I think it's right here, and we're gonna bend that back like that. So that looks about equal, so I think I did that right. There's no bend lines on the faces, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly where you're supposed to bend them. That's one done. Now we're gonna do the same thing again, but what we're gonna do is actually make sure that these pieces kind of mirror each other. The reason we bend these the same way is because if we don't, they will actually read different times. So we want to make sure that we all have the same time, except for, of course, this guy right here. And we just need to make sure that these are all kind of uniformly bent. I don't like how this doesn't have any bend lines in it, because it kind of makes it hard to get that perfect 90, but if you use your pliers here and go right to the center, it gets a nicer, kind of harsher bend. That one looks pretty good. There we go. Just kind of straighten that out a little bit. Okay. Now we're gonna grab our little faces here, and these would be the faces, except you know, these ones I don't think actually have the piece going into it. I think this one actually does. The other ones don't. But right now, we're going to grab the sides here and we're going to bend them. I think I'm going to use my bender tool for this, try to get a nice uniform bend. Let's use this side. This side here has a lot more strength. There we go. And I'm going right to that edge there. Okay. And now I'm going to use my tweezers here and get right to that edge, and I'm going to bend it like that. I just don't want to bend that detail. That's what I'm worried about. It's not bad. It's not perfect either, though. See, the problem is the one issue that I've had with my Bender 1.0 tool is I use a piece of foam here to kind of protect the metal. But what I find is that sometimes this is too thick and it pushes too much in. But if I go any thinner than this, it actually doesn't really work out anymore. I've had a hard time finding foam like that. So I've come up with a different way to be able to make this stronger, but also still protect the pieces. I'm still in some testing phases though, so we'll see how the rest of it goes. Let's try just using this part right here. And again, going right to that edge, and then we're gonna bend it up. The problem with this method right here is that because we have so much detail, we actually run the risk of accidentally bending that instead of the little side here. So the bender tool is still a better way of doing this because you're kind of risk-free. However, it's still doable regardless. If you were to use these guys here, you would almost have to go to each one of these little tabs and kind of go like that to correct it and get it nice and shaped. But this right now is perfect for what we need. Now we can go to these other pieces here and we can bend them as well. I'll show you kind of what I mean, even though it won't be as uniform. You can see that if I go like this, it's really hard to get all the way up there. And if I bend this right now, this is gonna all misshape. So instead of doing that, we're just gonna use our tweezers here again. Get right to that side. And again, it is tricky because of that detail. So we're gonna go right here and we're pushing in the center. I'm going down and pushing the side. I'm trying to be as even as possible. There we go. Coming to the other side here. Same thing again. Bending like this. Pushing on either side. There we go. That looks pretty good. Pretty good, I think. Now we're gonna put that one down, and we got 2 more to do here. Again, bending it in shape like that. Awesome. Now you can see how this one kind of has that little warped middle like I was talking about, and that's because I pressed too hard. So what I'm going to do is use a collection of different pliers here to kind of help me out with that. This side is fine, it's only this side here. And I actually corrected that pretty easily. Okay. I'm pretty confident with this now. All right. That is all of our pieces nice and bent. We're gonna put them right here. Let me just double check these guys here. Yeah, they look pretty good. Yeah, they're all nice. All right, now we get to bend this little piece here. This is the actual faces of our clock, and they look pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and put the faces in because I don't think we need to worry about that. So, okay. The bottom tab is in. I'm just now feeding the other one in. This metal is so much harder to work with and shape with tweezers than the other one is. There we go. The quality of this metal is just really high. I really enjoy it. Okay. Nice little twist. You can twist these guys a little bit to make them look a little bit more even, but if you start with an even piece, it's just better to do that. Feed that guy in there. There we go. Same thing, pressing evenly as possible, and now securing our tabs. That actually moved. I'm gonna have to double check this one. It has a little bit of movement though, so we can play with it. Those look really good, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now that we have this, let's go ahead and grab our tweezers and just place them right about here. Yeah, there we go. And we're gonna bend that like that. Okay. There we go. And then we're gonna come to the other side. Same thing. Come right about midway. Again, making sure that we're as even as possible. And then we're gonna bend. Very good. Now finally, come to the center. Line it up evenly as possible, guys. Okay, come around here like this. Make sure we're still good. There we go. All right, there we go. And we have our box. That box looks pretty good too. Now what we need to do is, before we actually close any of this, let's put all that outside detail on here so we still get easy access to our other pieces. The only one we need to worry about is actually just the clock there. So we're gonna put that one on last. Like this. There we go. And I feel like we did a really good job shaping these because they all went in very easily, and they should have. I mean, they're just squares, but sometimes when we've shaped these, again, if they're not completely even, they are a little bit hard to get into place. These all went in really simply, so I'm kind of proud of how well we did it. This guy here is kind of in the way of me securing this last tab. We're gonna bend it out of the way. And come over here now, and just, I missed my twist. Okay, like that, and then boom. Okay, excellent. All right, now we can take this little face here and first of all, let's clean this off a little bit. It seems like there's a little bit of residue of some kind around the face here, but we're gonna clean that off right now. That looks pretty clean now. All right, we're gonna come to the back and we're gonna remove the little safety pin here. This is going to allow, wait, is there a, yeah, there is. Aha. Take that like that. Put that here. And now we'll remove this dude. And that's going to allow for the clock and the battery to start working. And, but first, before we actually get it working, we're going to set the time. So, currently, it is 3:25. So let's do one of these. Okay, and 3 and 25 is right about there. Okay, and there we go. 3:25. Okay, now that we got this, we can place this in place. Okay, there we go. Now this piece goes in here like this and slides down. There we go. And now we can close this up. I don't want to put too much pressure like that on there, so I think I'll come out like this. I can't get in there, okay? I don't want to squish my other hands either. That is definitely a hard way to secure that tab. Maybe I actually should have secured this first and then did the other way. I think that I might suggest that if you're following along or if you plan on building this yourself, I would maybe suggest building the cube and then just sucking it up and just fiddling around. Because getting that done on the end there, you do run the risk of accidentally squishing some of your details, and I feel like that bottom tab isn't in there the best. It's not. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave it like that. I don't really want to squish the detail by accident here, but I really like how this looks. It looks super cool. Let's put this over to the side now and we can begin building the top piece. I'm sorry, my cat just really likes metal time models for some reason. And yeah, he comes along and just wants to say hello, and sometimes the hair just loves to stay everywhere. Anyway, let's grab this right here. Actually, the first thing we're gonna do is grab this piece right here. This is going to be the spire. And similar like we've done before, let's do this on the end and then come over to the other end here. Evenly as possible, we're bending at 90 degrees, and then we're gonna come to the center. Now, this should meet pretty evenly. Should. Of course, we can always do what we need to do. Sometimes it's actually better to go right back to the corner that you were bending at originally rather than trying to go to like the tail here and trying to bend it right. Just kind of come in here and do it right from there, and that actually helps a lot. But being that this is going to be secured down to another part, we don't need to worry about that 100%, but we should always try our best to make sure that our parts are completely square like these. Now we can take that other piece here, and that's going to open up a little bit until we get it to secure. And we're going to take it now. And now we need to find the holes here, which are right next to where we're bending things down. So that's actually a little bit of something to know. Make sure you're putting these into the proper holes. I would imagine you would have a pretty hard time securing it if you put them into the wrong hole. Now I'm going down here and I'm pressing as hard as I can into the previous piece. And the reason for that is because we want the best and most secure possible connection here. And by putting a little bit of strength in there and doing a little bit of a pull, we're actually making the metal come together pretty well.
I'm going right to the middle of the piece here, and you'll notice that I'm not actually bending any one piece right to where it needs to go, and that's because I'm actually using two sides here to kind of figure out exactly how much bending we need to have. It looks about right there. Okay, like that. And our cross we'll have to fix a few times to make sure it's 100% straight on the top. I'm gonna go a little bit nuts trying to make sure that's 100%. So we're gonna wait. And actually, what we should have done is put this piece on first before forming the other sides down here, because getting this one in might be a little bit difficult. But much like we've done before, we're gonna do the same thing here. And there we go. Bring that side out just a little bit. That's a pretty good square right there. I like it. And now we'll press down. Yeah, there we go. Okay. A little manipulation, but we got it. And now we're going to bend these tabs down. So let's go around here and just do that real quickly. Again, try to hold this as evenly as possible. Otherwise, you might find your top here being a little lopsided. Okay, there we go. And now we're just kind of matching them to the rooftop. I think I bent that one a little too much. But we will fix all of this in a moment with the pliers. Okay, there we go. All right, now that we got these guys in place, let's do this and match everything up. That actually looks really nice. I like this a lot. Okay. Now that we got this little shaping here, we can move on to the next piece, which is this little guy here. Same thing as before. So no sense in having the rails get in the way. Looks pretty good. Ah, I did it again. All right, that looks pretty good. I don't like how I dropped it, but you know, outside of that, we did pretty good. So let's put this to the side, and let's now grab this. I'm gonna take this little guy here and put it out of the way. We can grab our little piece here, and like we've done before, we're gonna make some more boxes. So come to the side here, come to the other side first, make another 90-degree bend, come to the middle, and let the pieces meet. And now let's grab this little piece here. I think it's best maybe we attach these two pieces first. And in that way, this is perfectly square, and we can put the other part on there, which is slightly slanted. And I think that's gonna be a little bit more difficult. Okay, now that we got these guys in place, awesome. All I'm doing is just pulling them away from the other detail here, and then I will be able to grab them and secure them. I'm also trying not to warp any of the other pieces while it's already here, right? So this is kind of aggressive, but I think it's the only way to get them. Okay, cool. There we go. Nice. Take this guy here. Okay.
think we're looking pretty decent here, guys. Look at that. That looks pretty good. Now we can move to the side here and move on to our giant bending piece. Yeah, this is a nice little piece for us to bend here, and I think a great time for us to use our Bender 1.0 tool again. Let's see. Nope, not going to happen. Let's see. This side. Yeah, there we go. But we're going to flip it on like this. Kind of come right about here. Go right there. Right about there, actually. Yeah, okay. Take it like this. And again, bend up. Okay. Open her up. Flip her around. Now the middle. Okay. There we go. Got a nice little spire there. Take our bender tool, take our tweezers out of the way, and now it's a matter of just putting it all together, my friends. Let's take this right here. And I believe, did I forget a piece? I think I did. This guy here needs to go in here. So, there we go. Pretty good square, I think. Okay. But I don't like that. Okay, wait a second. Let's do it. Let's do this a little differently. Because I don't want to reach into the middle of my project, let's just do this and see where those tabs bring us. Yeah, so we're still on the outside. We're still good. So let's secure these guys, and we'll go from there. Okay. The only thing that's a little bit annoying about these white gloves, they do seem to leave a little bit of a furry white stuff all over things. And that's a good way of knowing if there's like little pieces that are left over from when you were cutting things out of the metal. That's why you see typically me run my finger like this on the edges. With this one here, we did a good job, but we're still getting some pieces from our gloves, little fluffies. They're not hard to remove, but you know, something to know. Now, where's the back? Okay, where's the secured tabs? Right here. Okay, those are the tabs there. Now where are the tabs here? Tabs here. Okay. There we go. And I'm assuming that these are also secured. It can't be secured like that. How do these get secured? Probably with a twist, I would imagine. I'm confused. I'm going to twist these ones because I think they look better twisted here. Oh, can we actually bend them down on the side? That'd be better. Can we do that? Let's see. Yes, we can. Okay, so this is a cool method that I like to use. What you do is you take it, you twist it like this, and then you bend them down flat. Okay? And that kind of hides them a little bit. Not crazily well, you know, nothing like they're not invisible or nothing, but they're not as visible as just twisted tabs. And because the tabs here are kind of big, if you twist them and then lie them down on the border, they kind of become part of the border as opposed to standing out like a twist or being completely out in a 90-degree angle. Both of those things are not really desirable. What I'm going to actually do is bend it this way and try to go into the corner. That way it looks a little neater. Like that. And then we're going to bend it down. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, let's see here. Okay. We got to attach this little piece here on. Okay.
that went on way easier than I was expecting. Okay, let's bend these now down with the roof. Okay, we're just getting them started. We're gonna bend them all. Now we gotta match these. I'm gonna hold it down here so I don't do that again. And now it's a matter of just matching the rooftop here. Can I do this with my pencil maybe? I don't want to go too hard. That was a little bit more difficult to achieve than I thought it would be, but we did it. And I'm gonna put my pencil in here again. Okay, now clock straight as possible. Put this guy back in. Okay, there we go. And now it's just a matter of placing these guys here on top. How does exactly this work though? Does it just sit freely? I thought these guys were attached on the sides. I guess not. So, okay. Wow, that looks really awesome, and I love the tension that this actually has. I need to put an LED light in here, but there we go, guys. This is the Great Bell from Metal Time, and it was pretty simple to put together. If you've been following along at home and successfully built this too, do me a favor. When you go to Instagram and post a really cool picture of it, use the hashtag GrooveBuilders so that I can see it. I would love to share your project with the rest of the community. Until next time, Groovers, keep building.